What the British people are owed is an explanation. Because a failure on this scale isn't just bad luck, it isn't a global trend or taking your eye off the ball. No, this is a different order of failure. This happened by design, not accident. Policies were reformed deliberately to liberalise immigration. Brexit was used for that purpose, to turn Britain into a one-nation experiment in open borders. Global Britain. Remember that slogan? That is what they meant. A policy with no support and which they then pretended wasn't happening.
The government responsible for the disastrous immigration policies criticised by Keir Starmer was the Conservative Party, which has held power since 2010. The sharp rise in immigration, as Starmer pointed out, was no accident but a direct result of deliberate decisions made under the leadership of Boris Johnson and Liz Truss. These leaders, under the guise of Global Britain, actively liberalised immigration rules post-Brexit, effectively turning the UK into a reckless experiment in open borders. Starmer's remarks expose their blatant disregard for public opinion, accusing them of prioritising political slogans over the nation's economic and social stability. This so-called experiment left Britain unprepared to handle the surge in migration, further demonstrating the Conservatives' inability or unwillingness to address the long-term consequences of their own policies.
Now, the Independent Office of National Statistics has conducted vital work on the state of immigration and found the previous government were running an open borders experiment. As the ONS sets out, nearly 1 million people came to Britain in the year ending June 2023. That is 4 times the migration levels compared with 2019. Time and again, the Conservative Party promised they would get the numbers down. Time and again, they failed. And now the chorus of excuses has begun. We heard that from the Leader of the Opposition yesterday. But what we didn't hear, what the British people are owed, is an explanation. Because a failure on this scale isn't just bad luck, it isn't a global trend or taking your eye off the ball. No, this is a different order of failure. This happened by design, not accident. Policies were reformed deliberately to liberalise immigration. Brexit was used for that purpose, to turn Britain into a one-nation experiment in open borders. Global Britain. Remember that slogan? That is what they meant. A policy with no support and which they then pretended wasn't happening. And now they want to wave it away with a simple, "We got it wrong." Well, that's unforgivable. And mark my words, this government will turn the page. That begins in the economy, because you cannot separate this failure from their refusal to do the hard yards on skills, on welfare reform, on giving our young people opportunities, rather than the easy answers of looking overseas. Because clearly the vast majority of people who entered this country...
Keir Starmer recently made a speech shedding light on the previous government's handling of immigration, describing it as a badly conceived open borders experiment. According to data from the Office for National Statistics, nearly 1 million people entered the UK in just 1 year, 4 times more than in 2019. This dramatic increase was not the result of external pressure or accidental mismanagement, but a deliberate policy shift to liberalise immigration. Starmer argued that using Brexit to facilitate this change had turned the UK into a testing ground for policies that had little public support, while remaining hidden behind slogans like Global Britain. Starmer's comments underscored the broader implications of these decisions, suggesting they were made at the expense of meaningful domestic reforms. Rather than investing in skills development, welfare reform, or creating opportunities for young Britons, the government appears to be relying on foreign workers as a quick fix. This approach, while convenient in the short term, raises questions about its sustainability and its impact on the nation's workforce. The failure to address the root causes of the labor shortage, such as inadequate training and support for British workers, further highlights the shortcomings of this strategy. The handling of immigration, as Starmer describes it, reflects a pattern of broken promises. Despite repeated assurances that immigration would be reduced, the opposite has happened. This inconsistency, combined with a lack of transparent explanation, has led many to question the government's priorities and commitment to addressing public concerns. Attempts to dismiss these results are missteps that add to the sense of uncertainty surrounding the policies and their long-term impact. In his analysis, Starmer points to a broader failure to connect immigration policy to the country's economic and social needs. By focusing on short-term fixes rather than addressing systemic issues, the previous government may have inadvertently created challenges that will take years to resolve. This raises serious concerns about the foresight and accountability of those responsible, leaving the UK facing the consequences of policies that, while well-intentioned, appear deeply flawed.
Did so to plug gaps in our workforce, skill shortages across the country, which have left our economy hopelessly reliant on immigration. 2.8 million people out of work on long-term sickness, a problem ignored, left to fester. 1 in 8 young people not in employment or education or training. Sectors of our economy, like engineering, where apprenticeships have almost halved in the last decade, while visas have doubled. So we're taking a different approach. We will publish a white paper imminently, which sets out a plan to reduce immigration. The Migration Advisory Committee is already conducting a review. And where we find clear evidence of sectors that are over-reliant on immigration, we will reform the points-based system and make sure that applications for the relevant visa routes, whether it's the skilled worker route or the shortage occupation list, will now come with new expectations on training people here in our country. We will also crack down on any abuse of the visa routes. For far too long, we've been casual about malpractice in our labour market, which sends a clear signal overseas that we're a soft touch. Well, no more. Our rules will be enforced. Any employers who refuse to play ball, they'll be banned from hiring overseas labour. And I'm pleased to announce today a new security agreement between Iraq and the UK.
Keir Starmer has sounded the alarm over the fact that 1 in 8 young people in the UK are not in work, education, or training, a stark reminder of the growing challenges facing the country's workforce and young people. This worrying figure is compounded by the decline of technical apprenticeships, which have provided vital skills for the economy, and an increasing reliance on foreign workers, as evidenced by the rise in visa numbers. Starmer has stressed that these trends require urgent and comprehensive policy change. In response, the government is preparing a white paper outlining plans to tackle these challenges head-on. Proposals include measures to reduce immigration by reforming the points-based system and introducing new, tougher training requirements for visa applicants. The measures aim to ensure that immigration supports, rather than undermines, opportunities for British workers. The white paper will also address widespread concerns about visa abuse and introduce tougher labor market rules, including penalties for employers who fail to comply, such as bans on hiring foreign workers. In addition to domestic reforms, Keir Starmer is also focusing on international partnerships, with a new security agreement with Iraq part of his strategy. This deal aims to address wider issues around migration and labor mobility. Together, these initiatives aim to reduce reliance on foreign workers, restore confidence in the immigration system, and provide young Britons with the skills and opportunities they need to thrive in a competitive economy. However, the scale of the challenge and the effectiveness of these measures are yet to be seen.
It is a world first that will help us smash the people smuggling gangs and secure our borders. The Home Secretary has been out in Iraq to seal this deal, and we've also announced funding for Iraqi law enforcement to tackle this problem upstream, way before it reaches our shores. We're also tackling the utter mess we inherited in the Home Office. Asylum returns up 53% in the last 12 months compared with the previous year. Total returns up 34% in the last year. And we will keep on going because this is the work of change. And alongside the NHS and the economy, securing our borders is the issue that matters to working people. You know, what people want from politics is not unreasonable. They want order and security, borders that we control, an NHS that protects you, an economy that offers secure work and good opportunities, not just for a few at the top, but for everyone. Let me say directly to the people watching, where the last government failed you, this one will not. They drove immigration numbers up. We will get them down. They left the NHS flat on its face. We will get it standing tall again. They made you poorer. We will put more money in your pockets. It won't be quick or easy, but we are going to turn things around, not with gimmicks, but with graft. A government that will not rest until the foundations are fixed, borders are secure, and Britain is rebuilt. Thank you.
Keir Starmer has unveiled a new security agreement with Iraq aimed at tackling the persistent issue of people smuggling and enhancing border security. This agreement involves funding support for local law enforcement to dismantle smuggling networks and address the flow of illegal migration at its source. In his remarks, Starmer also addressed the latest migration figures, acknowledging the significant challenges faced by the Home Office. Despite these difficulties, he highlighted tangible progress, including a marked increase in asylum returns, as evidence of the government's commitment to taking control of the situation. Starmer emphasized that this new initiative is part of a broader strategy to secure Britain's borders, improve critical public services such as the NHS, and stimulate economic growth for the benefit of all citizens. He was clear in acknowledging past failures in these areas, but underscored the government's determination to implement solutions with dedicated effort and a long-term vision. By combining international cooperation with comprehensive domestic reforms, the government seeks to address the root causes of migration challenges, strengthen national security, and restore public confidence in its ability to manage these complex issues effectively. This approach reflects a commitment not only to managing current pressures, but also to laying the groundwork for sustainable policies that ensure stability and resilience in the future. Thank you for watching. If you have any thoughts or opinions, feel free to share them in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more updates, and join us on Telegram for exclusive content and discussions. Your support means a lot.